The end of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' bid for the White House had the calamity of the sinking of the Titanic and the explosion of the Hindenburg combined, except in this instance, people were gleefully cheering the mass casualty event. With the suspension of his campaign and endorsement of former President Trump, the political future of DeSantis crashed so much that in any other context, such a news headline would have read, "Two white Florida men team up to take a job from a brown-skinned woman." In his video message endorsing Trump, DeSantis attributed a quote to Winston Churchill that was actually used in a 1938 ad for Budweiser. It makes sense, as excessive consumption of both alcohol and Ron DeSantis can lead to the killing of brain cells. In his campaign and throughout his political career, DeSantis often eschewed public appearances and stuck to posting many of his announcements on social media. Damn, finally a candidate just like me, and the only way he knows how to keep warm during the winter is by burning books. A common practice when you consider there is not much demand for space heaters in Florida. I personally am waiting for things to get so bad with these candidates that their political futures will be filled with such disappointment, and the most listened to podcast they are able to do is this one. So this is kind of breaking news in terms of this podcast, in terms of how I usually prepare. Are we excited to see Ron DeSantis go, or did we want him to just stay in and get kicked around a little more?
He'll always have his high heels.
He's gonna get kicked around now by Mickey Mouse, and he'll lash out at his constituents because he's basically just this angry, twisted thing in heels with zero emotions, and it'll be like a cross between Joan Crawford and Hal from 2001.
Let's see what underserved part of the Florida community I can hurt now. That may be it, because that'll make him feel like more of a man.
Yeah, and I think he's just going to go into a little corner and prepare for 2028. Like, I don't think it's over. I think he's just gone away, and he didn't want the humiliation of New Hampshire, so he got out right before he was going to get that. Now any numbers that he amasses there for what write-ins or what, if they can even do that, he would just be like, well, I pulled out, like, look how good I did even when I pulled out, but yeah, I think he's going in a corner, and we'll see him again.
Yeah, I agree, Gina. I think he's going to go in a corner, stare into a mirror, telling him how much of a winner he is.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do what most politicians do, which is write, and for the people out there, and I'm putting that in quotation marks, write a book, and then we'll see him back in 2028.
Yeah, is he going to write a book, or is he just going to tell himself he's great? Like he's going to be singing Aloe Black to himself in the mirror over and over again. That song that he ripped off of Elton John.
He's going to write a book and then ban it.
Right. I think. Well, and I think that the self-help books in Florida are going to go up for a while. Sales of self-help books for a while, they're going to go up while he buys them to build himself up, and then he'll ban them. Yes.
But Tom asked if we're happy, and the problem is that, as you put it, Gina, with him pulling out. And if Trump wins, pulling out may be the only legal form of contraceptive in this country. Took a while to get there, but it was worth it.
I'm just shocked that he terminated it anyway, because aren't you not allowed to terminate a pregnancy?
Oh, you think he should have carried it to fruition?
Exactly. Just let himself get kicked even more, and he could be humiliated just that much more. Mainly because I'm seriously convinced that between the heels and the lack of emotion, and did you see how that comedian in Iowa ripped into him with the participation trophy, and he had no clue what to do with it? I think he's just a bottom. He's just the ultimate turbo bottom at this point. But that's what the entire, you gotta understand, that's the entire GOP.
Oh God.
He's a despicable human being, and he deserves the ass kicking that he got. The
I don't think he got
is-
his ass kicked enough.
I think it's interesting that like all these candidates who decided to go up against Trump, because it was a large field that decided to run against him for this nomination, and they all pulled out early enough that it's basically, ironically enough, it's basically a metaphor for them taking the morning after pill.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're all riding his jock now, though. They're all, they all like, you know, Tim's and all. They're all just riding it. Wait, they're pick-me's.
It's like the phone call afterwards. I still love you, baby.
Yeah.
It's like
Been
I'll
there,
still come
been
over-
there.
I'll still come over and have dinner with a guy who's supposedly known for soiling himself and not even realizing it.
But also the fact that he endorsed the former guy after all the things the former guy continuously said about him. He couldn't. He did it right away. He couldn't just say, I'm suspending my campaign.
Yeah.
And notice he suspended it. He didn't terminate it because in case Trump's in prison, he still has the active campaign. It's only suspended. But that's the way he phrased it. But he comes across as so he comes across as such a loser given all the things that Trump said about him. And they said, well, now I want you to, despite all the things you said about me, I want you to have the biggest job in the world.
Yeah, it's very it's like a sort of an abusive sort of relationship that the everybody that was competing against him seemed to have. They're like, but we still love you. Oh, you can come back home, honey, even after he's done them all dirty. But they're still, no, it's okay. He apologized. In this case, he never did. But but they still keep the door open for him.